Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. My name is Dan. Today's a bonus episode on the Minnesota Twins. Today's episode will focus on the Minnesota Twins projected 2026 roster and also the AAA St. Paul Saints AAA. Right now we got the 40-man roster. All the players are in camp. Lots going on in spring training, and what this episode is going to do is piggyback on the episodes that I've done in November, December, January, and February. So each month there's an installment of kind of where this team is going to lay out and where this team is going to play and how things will shake out. I guess with all the unknowns, I found doing these episodes helpful to kind of get the Twins fans up to speed. In addition to putting out my own personal opinion on where some of these things will fall, please leave comments and questions below on the episode if there are any. But keep in mind, these are my opinions. I'm going to back it up with some things that I'm familiar with as well. It's just something to chew on here as the final next couple of weeks wrap up. Twins start making cuts, injuries start happening, and the Twins get ready to break camp and name their 26-man roster. And so it's been a busy off season. I've shown this clip before, and here is the updated list. Now, as of yesterday, here's the Twins' new additions in the offseason. And so there are 29. I've got them listed in alphabetical order. These are Twins' minor league additions that are really at the AAA level and Major League Baseball signings. I did not put on the list guys in rookie ball, single A, double A, things like that. This is the players that you'll be seeing in camp. 3 of them have a strike through. Those have since been either DFA'd, those players, or traded. So all of the acquisitions. So 29. A lot of folks on the social media are complaining that the Twins organization are not making moves. They've done nothing in the offseason. They're doing nothing to prepare for the season. So here's the list. This is just the facts here of all the actions and all the movements the Twins as an organization have made. Now, are these big name free agent pickups? No. Are they big name, big dollar acquisitions? No. Were the Twins, for the most part, quiet on the free agent scene? Yes. And so this is kind of to help the Twins fans understand that with the trade deadline sell-off last year, Twins got rid of 11 players and got 13 in return. A lot of those 13 players in return were double A, triple A, major league players. Good mix of talent. That mix of talent, especially in the starting rotation that they acquired, made it possible for the Twins not to be too active in the free agent market. So you hear on social media, Twins didn't do anything in the free agent market. I would agree with that. I would also agree with they didn't have to be active in the free agent market. They didn't have a need to go after and sign a big name. Twins are stacked at starting pitching. Pablo Lopez went out, hurt for the season. He will be out. Then social media folks were saying, who are we going to sign? What are we going to do? How come there hasn't been a corresponding move? How come there are free agent starting pitchers out there that Twins are not snapping up? I'll get to that here because once again, I'll repeat, the starting pitching depth for the Twins, the depth is so strong that there's no need to do this. The Twins are jam-packed. A lot of talent on that. Folks like to focus on the trade deadline sell-off with the players that the Twins got rid of instead of focusing on the Twins players received. Some of these are very good additions. I like them. I like to focus on the players received. I've done bonus episodes on the entire trade deadline activity, and the Twins as an organization did very well on getting players in return for players that will no longer be with the team, players that were not going to be extended or re-signed, players that contracts were coming due and they were going to be left off and get nothing in return. By moving those players at the trade deadline, we were able to get prospects, young players, older players, major league players, players with experience, all sorts of pickups. The Minnesota Twins were able to pick up on that trade deadline, which they're now coming in and utilizing now, and we're starting to see the benefit of some of those moves. Let's go to the potential roster here. I'm going to go through the breakdown one by one by position, and then start with the 26-man roster for the Twins, and then the folks that don't make the roster, if they're going to fall down to AAA to play on the 28-man roster for the St. Paul Saints, or if they're going to be cut, released, out of options, things like that. So let's bring up that screen here, and we'll see one by one. I've done this on each of the monthly episodes as well. Let's bring it up. Here you go. You can see my screen here. This is the 2026 potential roster. This whole column here is the Minnesota Twins that will, in my opinion, now keep in mind, this is my opinion, will make the opening day roster for the Minnesota Twins, barring any injury. The fallout then will end up with the folks on the roster for the 28-man roster for the St. Paul Saints, which includes an extra pitcher and an extra position player. Then I got a column for guys in question mark. What are going to happen? What should or will happen with some of these extra players? Twins have a lot. Organization has a lot. There's going to be some notable big-time cuts coming up because the Twins did, one could argue, too much acquisition. Too many players picked up, especially in the relief, the bullpen. As far as helping to shore up that bullpen, the Twins made a lot of acquisitions. Now, roster spots are still the same. 8 roster spots for the Twins for the bullpen. 8 possibly, or 9 with the Saints. And so you're still stuck with the same number of roster spots available, which means a handful of players are going to have to be cut and offloaded as the spring training continues. And then I've added a column here as we're getting close here to the season starting, column for injuries, players that are injured. And let's start there here. As you can see this, I've got Pablo Lopez, that's starting pitcher 1, SP1 Lopez, out for the season. He's also our highest paid player on the roster. So that hurts the team with having their ace out. Now, what's the impact on that? We'll get to that. Matt Cantorino will start the year injured. He's not 100% healthy. I've got him as injured, and he's another starter. The Twins really like him, but with the number of injuries he's had over the years, I think this will be his last year with the organization. David Festa has a shoulder question issue. They're going to keep him out for a couple of weeks yet. I don't think he'll break camp with the big league team. He may not even break camp with the Saints. He might be on some sort of injured list as he's not 100%. Now, here's the good thing. Here's who the Twins have for opener day roster at the big league level. Starting pitcher 1, ace, Joe Ryan. Love it. Truly would be an ace on a number of major league teams. Here he was sitting behind Lopez in the rotation. Now he's going to get that start, this chance in 2026 to be a big year for him in that ace role. I do like that. Bailey Ober, number 2, had an up and down season last year for the big guy. He should now be healthy and good to go. Look for him to have a good season as a number 2 guy. Taj Bradley picked up last year in the deal. He played big time in the minors, did come up and have a handful of starts in the major league level. So he's seen the major leagues at the top level. Did not do too well and was DFA'd. The Twins acquired him in that trade. Actually not DFA'd, but the Twins did acquire him. Now, the thing that people are not talking about on Twins for the social media, in addition to the World Baseball Classic coming up, where they announced that Taj Bradley will not be going to the team he was going to be going on. He's going to be staying at camp to work with the Twins. The reason for that is when the Twins got him, he had issues, problems, and weaknesses in his delivery, his technique, his mechanics, and the Twins picked him up And so they're working with Taj on in the spring and even with the offseason with his mechanics and his delivery. You're going to see a new pitcher out of Taj Bradley, not the average kind of guy the way he finished up last season, doing off and on, some days good, some days bad. By getting his work cleaned up, and they feel there's a special place here for Bradley in this starting rotation. They're going to put him in, make a little project. They're going to make him the project guy in the offseason. And so Bradley, look for him to, once he gets and works through those kinks, to be number 3 starter for the Twins. Simeon Woods Richardson, I've got down here as starting pitcher number 4. Really, the last couple months of the season, in the regular season, Richardson was the Twins' actually best starting pitcher. Really, really good. I like him down there in the 4 role. If he can keep up and stay consistent, I do like him. Now, what I've got is Mick Abel moving up into the Twins rotation as the number 5 guy, the low end bottom rotation, bottom of the rotation guy. Fresh off winning the minor league AAA International League Pitcher of the Year in 2025. Dominant in the minors. Mick Abel, dominant in the minors, a big, big prospect with the Phillies for the last few years. Twins received him on the trade with Joan Duran and picked him up. I had him starting the year in AAA with the Saints, but now the injury to Lopez, I've got Abel moving up as a number 5 starter. A wealth of talent with this guy. Whether he does good at the major league level right out of the chute is questionable, but I think if they keep him in and keep him in the rotation and he gets better and stronger, he'll be a nice addition. Look for that name, Mick Abel. Keep that name in mind. This guy has the potential down the road to be an ace of a major league staff. So those are the Twins' top 5 starting pitchers. Let's move on to the Saints and the players that are now left behind. Zebby Matthews, love the guy. Great minor league pitcher, a lot of strikeouts, very, very few walks last couple of years. Last year, they brought him up to the majors and basically said, all you're doing is throwing strikes. You have to learn to throw balls. You have to work the count. You have to not throw a strike every single pitch. Major League Baseball hitters will hit you. That I don't agree with. Look at how Matthews fell off last year. By now getting into his head, he's got to throw balls. He's got to work outside the box. He cannot throw strikes all the time. I think they got into his head. I don't think that is how he is wired to work. I wish he would get back to just throwing strikes, even at the major league level. Boy, was he good. Offseason last year, depending on what plans they have for him this year, he could start the year I've got in my projection here with the Saints as their number 1 ace, number 1 starter. But hopefully he can work through that mix, work through that balance of learning to pitch strikes and balls rather than just strikes. He's been walking a lot of guys lately. And the thing you don't want with a guy who never walks players is now his walk rate is up. And so was that a disservice to him by getting in his ear to have him learn to pitch that way? It could have been. Hopefully that was something in the past and he can focus on that. He is going to be a very good, high caliber major league rotation starter in the big leagues as well. Once we get over this hump here, he's going to be a stud. Now we got Andrew Morris, number 19 prospect back for the Twins. I've got him in the number 2 slot for the Saints. He's got, I think, another year in minor leagues to work on some things. Kendry Rojas also picked up in the trade deadline. This guy could be up with the Twins already in 2026. Even if Mick Abel, or if there's an injury in the top 5, or if Mick Abel at that 5 spot doesn't do well, look for Rojas to come up. I really like the looks of this guy. Connor Prelip, number 9 prospect for the Twins. I've got him as a starter. Number 4 for the Saints. Now the question here is, he's good, number 9 prospect. The Twins have the bullpen issue where we were light, and so they want to move him to the bullpen. I think he'd be a good bullpen pitcher, a good relief pitcher Prelip. But because of the injury now to Lopez and Cantorino and Festa not being healthy, they may have to delay Prelip moving to the bullpen. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think they're going to start the year with him back in the rotation. Now, which leads me to my next point, Marco Raya. Marco Raya, number 18 prospect. Really good pitcher, has not filled out in the starting role. Has not been good in the rotation. He could be a star as a reliever at the major league level if he could work 2 to 3 innings as a middle reliever, something in that frame. They wanted to do that last year. He was expected to start the season in the bullpen. He might still start the season in the bullpen. There's no room in the Saints bullpen. So I've got him moving back to the starting rotation. I could be wrong there. I don't know what they're going to do with him. He will not make the team as the Twins relief because of all the pickups and the veteran pickups the Twins did in the offseason. I don't see him breaking camp with the Twins in the bullpen. Look for him in this season to be with the big league club in a bullpen role. So I've got him, his starting is number 5 starter. We'll see how that shakes out because there's an extra guy in the Saints as AAA. They get 28 players instead of 26. That's one more pitcher. Many times the teams will go with 6 starting man rotation, 6 starting pitchers in the minors. If that's the case, I think they are going to promote Sam Armstrong, also trade deadline pickup last year from AA, get him a promotion. He's made 35 starts in the AA level. He's made 35 starts. So he may be starting the year in AA as one of their top pitchers for the Wichita team for the Twins. But they also, because of these injuries to starting pitching, could bring him up as a promotion, make him a 6th-man starter. Now, that being said, if the Saints only go with 5-man in the rotation, it's going to open up the bullpen to 9 players instead of 8. We're not going to need Armstrong at that point because there will be extra relievers. Let's move down here to the Minnesota Twins relief corps, 8 players. Here's what I've got. Once again, my opinion could be wrong. Just thinking of what the Twins can do here when they break camp if everyone's healthy. I've got Hartwig, a new player. Anyone that's got the word new after them has been an off-season pickup. Part of that 29 list. That list of 29 we showed earlier of acquisitions, if they have the word new after them, they are one of those players that are new to the Twins organization. Hartwig, Orzi, Larison, Altavilla, Sands. Those are the players that I've got just kind of slocked as a middle relief role, making the team. Setup guys, Banda, Topa, closer, Rogers. 8 guys, you got to break camp with 8 guys. Those are the ones I think are going to make it. Now, the Twins historically in the last few years have gone with, in the relief pitching, in the bullpen, 2 lefties. 2 lefties, all the rest right-handers. The Twins' off-season acquisitions, back to that list of 29 that the Twins picked up, many of those relievers that the Twins picked up are lefties. So one thing to note is, will the Twins break camp with more than 2 lefties in the bullpen? They may break camp with 3. They may break camp with 4. But I don't see any more than 4 left-handed pitchers in the bullpen. And a lot of those players they picked up were lefties. So they're going to fight it out in camp and see what happens here and see who does well, who doesn't, see who's going to start, who's not. If they don't start at the big league level, if they're going to start at AAA, some of these pitchers are out of options. Meaning you must break the camp with the big league team or be cut or be DFA'd. And if they clear waivers, sign them and pick them back up. So some of these players, as we get to the next column or two here, I have them under the question mark column because if they don't make the team with the Twins, they can't just be sent down. They're out of options. Let's go to the Saints side here, relief bullpen. If they're going with 8, my assumption here is 8 relievers in the bullpen for the Saints. I've got Trent Baker making the squad in AAA, Travis Adams, new pickup Salazar, new pickup Bash, Cody Funderburk, another lefty. Most situations I see him making the team for the Twins in the bullpen as a lefty, but I'm basing it here that they're not going to go with more than 2 lefties in the bullpen. So I see him actually starting with the Saints. Too many relievers. It's too overcrowded when the Twins look for Funderburk to start with the Saints. And then we got new addition Kent, Paredes, and John Klein, all starting the year at AAA. Now, if those players here are in the big leagues and these players are in AAA, here's our list of players that are going to have to be cut, DFA'd, traded, what have you. Here we're starting with new pitcher Brito, Jarrett Wharf, Christian McLeod, Liam Hendricks. A lot of Twins fans are happy with signing the Australian, the big Hendricks. 37 years old. I don't see him making the Twins roster. There's no way they're going to put him down in AAA. He's a guy that's going to be cut, I believe. Too old to compete at the major league level. Quinones, also new. Ryan. I don't think he's ever pitched at the AAA level. So look for him to be pushed down. He's a Rule 5 acquisition pickup in the minors. Have him start in AA with Wichita. Mr. Chaffin, long hair, long curly hair, another long-time vet. They may use him at the big leagues. I don't know if he's going to hang around and play with the Saints. So I've got him as a question mark. Matt Bowman. Also, I don't see where he's going to fit. Too much. Twins are too stacked in the bullpen. So look here, we've got 6-7 guys under the question mark here that have to be cut, DFA'd. If there's a multitude of injuries, the Twins have stockpiled well, because any one of these guys here in the question mark could roll into a Saints job or even the Twins at the big league club. So they've got a backup, 2 to 3 backup emergency plans here in the relief pitching core. That's why they were so active in the offseason to pick up these lower level veteran guys, mid-20s, 30-year-old guys, a mix of veterans. And I think that was a right mix to pick up players like this, see how they shake out over a course of a 30-game spring training, see how they do. Some should be easy cuts. Some are going to have fantastic springs, and you're going to have to do something to make a decision. But I think the Twins in the relief bullpen area are going to be sitting at 6 to 7 decisions on what are they going to do, rather than just maybe 2 to 3 in a typical year decisions to make before they break camp. Twins will be sitting at 6 or 7, I think. Let's move on to the catching. Here's the Twins catching situation. I've got Jeffers starting the year with the Twins, Caratini starting the year with the Twins. Twins typically carry 2 catchers. They could carry 3. If that's the case, they may keep Andrew, or they may keep Jackson. I don't see that happening because the Twins are also loaded on their roster. There's just no room to carry 3 catchers. If they do, they would keep Jackson. I've got Jackson over here signed of $1.3 million from the Orioles. And then Caratini came up with the Astros. So the Twins here at catching are sitting on a backup catching option and a backup to the backup catching option. Very wise to have 3 guys fighting for 2 spots. I do like that. If there's an injury in camp, the Twins are set for the regular season if any one of those catchers get hurt. If there's no injuries, I can see Jackson as a trade bait. I can see Jeffers as trade bait. I think the Twins like Caratini. He'll stay with the Twins because he also plays first base. Caratini and DH. Caratini is flexible. Look for Jeffers. If they do move him, could be traded. But if they do not trade him, I think Jackson is the expendable guy. Now, minor leagues. Twins also picked up David Buenuelos. He could be an easy guy to fill in and move up to the majors if there's an injury in the catching. If they get rid of Jackson and let's say Rogers or Caratini get injured, Benuelos is a good guy to bring up to the major league club. That's why they signed him as a backup plan. I see him starting with the Saints. I see Patrick Winkle starting with the Saints. That leaves us Noah Cardenas. I don't see a spot for Cardenas even on the AAA roster with the Saints. So once again, if there's injuries, the Twins have a backup plan. I don't think Cardenas will be sent down to AA to start the year with Wichita. He's already been there, done that. He's a AAA guy. But the Saints could also just carry 3 on the roster. That's going to make room. I don't see a situation where Jackson's going to be around at all. Let's get into the first baseman, Eric Wagaman. Twins signed him in the offseason, a true first baseman. Also plays third. I think that's why they picked him up, because he's versatile, but he's a 6'4" tall, true first baseman. I do like that. Wagaman. And then in AAA, you've got Aaron Sabato. Sabato, coming off a hot year, I think could make his debut with the Twins sometime this season as a true prototypical power hitting first baseman. I don't think the Twins as an organization like him that much. I don't see him. He's not listed as a prospect. There's no plans to bring him up for the majors. He could be potentially traded. Second base, Keishal. This is a guy that could have potential to be a Major League Baseball superstar. Keishal. On the bases, defense, offense. This is a guy that's going to be fun to watch for the Minnesota Twins, Luke Keishal. Look for the Saints to use Ortega at second base. Now moving on to shortstop, Brooks Lee. I love this former first rounder, difference maker. This could be a difference maker for the Twins with his power at the plate, his defensive skills, and also finally being able to play his position. Brooks Lee has been down off and on, I think mentally, because they tried him at second, they tried him at third, they had Correa at short. Brooks Lee never had a chance to be himself and just play shortstop as an everyday guy. I think we'll see a difference this year from the mental aspect. If he can build up his confidence and look more confident on the field, this guy could be a difference maker at the Major League Baseball level. The Twins signed Arcia as a backup. If something happens to Lee, Arcia is a phone call away from coming in, and we know for his years of Major League Baseball experience, he could come in a heartbeat and be ready to go. Twins have a lot of emergency backup plans built into this roster, which I like. If you read social media and read Twins fans, what you hear a lot of, what I hear a lot of from fans that they don't really follow the team, they say, I don't know a lot of the players. I don't know a lot of the names. After gutting the team last year, who are going to be the players? Well, here we go. So far, there hasn't been many. It's going to be the same cast of guys from other years. We're going to have Keishal. We got Lee. We got Lewis. We got Jeffers. You got Cody Clemens. You got Buxton. You got Wallner. 90% of the roster, the starting lineup, is the same. Let me repeat that. 90% is the same. There's only a few missing holes where fans may not know the players' names. Because of the big sell-off, once again, it wasn't that big of an impact, I don't think. So we got Wagaman at first. He is new. But remember, Caratini. You got a built-in first baseman with Caratini and a DH. You got some backups right there. Once again, I don't think they're going to move up Sabato. Keishal, like him. Lee, difference maker. Royce Lewis, another MVP superstar caliber guy. If he can stay healthy and stay on his groove and stay confident, this is a power hitting guy. This is a flashy guy. This is a guy that can do a lot of things. And last year, because he was down, I think a lot of Twins fans kind of wrote him off and forgot about him. This is a top caliber tier 1 player in Major League Baseball, Royce Lewis, another number 1 pick, another number 1 overall pick. Twins infield is going to look sharp. These guys can all hit the ball as well. Lewis, like the fact that he's going to everyday third base. They did pick up Gio Urshela as another backup for the minors. He'll start the year with the Saints. Longtime vet Gio Urshela, also a former Twin. One phone call away. If something happens to Lewis, you've got Urshela to plug in there to play third base. Like we said earlier, Eric Wagaman has experience at third base. There's some plug and play guys in this roster. I like the depth. I do like the depth. Now let's go over here to question mark. Kalen Culpepper, number 2 prospect in all of Twins territory. A shortstop, a true shortstop. There's nowhere else he's going to be playing. They can play him at second base if they need to, but they got him really groomed at shortstop to be that guy. I don't see him breaking camp with the Twins or the Saints. They're too deep. I think if Culpepper starts the year in Double-A Wichita, everyday shortstop, he'll be a quick move up. With any sort of injury to the Twins in the shortstop position, Culpepper is not too far off from making the big leagues. Look for him to make an appearance with the big leagues already this year, late in the season. Now, Tanner Schobel, Twins organization, shortstop / third baseman. Not in the big leagues. I don't see the room for him, even in the minors, even as a utility player. I don't see where Schobel's going to fit in here unless there's some sort of injuries here in camp. He could start the year in Double-A Wichita. Once again, he's done that, though. He's been there, done that. He's not a Double-A guy. Schobel, I think, is one injury away from being in the mix. Now, let's go to utility guys. Here's the utility players I've got for the Twins. Ryan Kreidler. Kreidler was brought in formerly with Detroit Tigers as a shortstop that can play center field. Now, Buxton at center field, injury prone, could get injured. A nice reason to have a guy like Kreidler come in here. Good stick, good batter. I like his approach at the plate. Defensively, very fluid. Overall, a good athlete, a great athlete. Kreidler you can plug him into center field just fine. For Buxton, he can even get spot starts in center field out there for him. He can plug him in at shortstop. Something happens to Brooks Lee, you've got Kreidler ready to go. So Twins have built in many emergency situations for backup plans and things, and if things happen. Kreidler could be an everyday player, but I think his role for the Twins this year is going to be more of a utility guy, a plug-and-play guy. Cody Clemens, great year with the Twins last year. Great pickup from Philly. Mainly played first base, though. Not a tall guy, not a tall first baseman, and not a prototypical first baseman. That's why the Twins went after and picked up Wagaman. They picked up Caratini. They picked up Josh Bell. With all that being said, I don't see Clemens spending any time at first base at all. Now, he's a true second baseman and a backup outfielder because of his backup and the fact that he can play multiple positions in a plug-and-play role. He can be first baseman in a pinch. He can play second base. If something happens to Keyshaw, you've got Clemens ready to go. Clemens can play right field. Clemens is a do-it-all kind of a guy. He'll take the spot, I think, of a Willie Castro this next season as a super utility for the Twins. Twins also signed Josh Bell. DH, first baseman, veteran. I see him making the team, obviously, with the Twins. But I don't see him being a starter. They paid him the big bucks, free agent market. Veteran, power hitter. He might be a DH, sparingly used at first base, maybe a DH splitting time with Jeffers and others. I don't see where he's going to fit in there. But because they have backup and they have depth, Josh Bell is going to be a guy that could be just a utility part-time player, maybe 3/4 of the time player. And they can plug him in anywhere because of his background and his versatility and his being a veteran. Josh Bell is a good pickup. If he wins the job away from Wagaman altogether, you could see Wagaman cut, DFA'd, drop down to AAA, with Eric Wagaman. I do think the Twins like him because of his size, but we'll see. Once again, there's been no injuries other than pitching for the Twins in spring training. There really hasn't been many injuries. So as some injuries happen, the Twins have room to play. They have wiggle room, of course. Now let's get to the outfield. Here's what I've got for the Twins: left fielder Alex Roden, Alan Roden, Byron Buxton in center, Matt Wallner in right. Roden also plays first base. When they first picked him up from the Blue Jays, they liked the fact that he could play first because the Twins had Ty France there last year when they got him to play the year last year. Roden came over at the trade deadline when there was speculation that France could get moved. Well, France did get moved, and so they picked up Roden. Now there's no room at first base. I don't see Roden playing first base at all, or even Clemens for that matter, because of the depth they have at first base. But Roden's having a great, terrific spring so far at the plate. This guy's a good hitter. This guy is good on the base paths. He's quick. He's a good left fielder. I do like him out there. I think he'll make the job as the everyday left fielder there. Wallner in right, Buxton in center, and fourth outfielder I've got is James Outman. James Outman was picked up from the Dodgers as a center fielder last year as a backup to Buxton once again. So I think he makes the team as a backup to Buxton. Keep in mind, we already have Kreidler as a center fielder. Outman's going to give us more depth. They may make Outman into a corner outfielder, playing left, sparingly left and right field. He could do that. He's typically a prototypical center fielder, though. Outman has not had a good spring. He could be a guy that could be cut or moved down to AAA, as well as Roden is outplaying Outman. So Outman is your fourth outfielder, I believe. Versatile guy then as well. He's got Major League Baseball experience, played with the Dodgers. Now let's go to the utility players for the minors. Tristan Gray, Twins picked him up. He's another Major League Baseball experience. He has Major League Baseball, has played in the big leagues. Twins picked him up. I don't see him making a spot, but he can play first, second, short, and third. I think he breaks camp with the Saints in AAA and either is a starter or a utility guy. And the Twins have a couple, 2 or 3 backup plans, emergency plans in place for injuries. And still, I don't see Gray making the Twins roster. Look for him to start at AAA. And as the year goes on, the versatility that Gray has, they can move him around anywhere. He's good to have on. Austin Martin, Twins, a lot of Twins fans have him starting in the big leagues in left field. I don't see that happening. Roden is your prototypical left fielder. Austin Martin is a great plug and play for left. He's a great plug and play at second base. He can do multiple things as a utility. Twins have too many utility guys already. Austin Martin does have one option left this year. He can go to the minors. The year of 2026, they can move him up and down. He's not out of options yet. I see him starting the year in AAA with the Saints as a utility guy. I don't even see, with this depth for the Saints, that Austin Martin will be a starting player even at the AAA level. I do like his bat. I do like his speed. Ricardo Olivar, I've got him making the team for the Saints as a utility guy. Just the fact that he's a catcher and also plays outfield. He's a number 26 prospect for the Twins organization. Very good. I don't like to see him sitting the bench or playing sparingly. My hope is that he starts the year in AA as a starter and moves up. But for right now, I've got him as slotted in as a utility. Remember, the Twins are already deep, and so are the Saints at catcher. Olivar is a catcher. He also plays outfield. Twins are very deep at outfield. This is one to keep your eye on with Olivar. Lower down there on the top 30 prospect list, but a good talent. I do like Olivar. Now, here's what we've got for the outfield for the Saints. Gabby Gonzalez in left. Walker Jenkins in center. Eduardo Rodriguez. Emmanuel Rodriguez in right. All three of those prospects. Gonzalez is number 8. Walker, number 1 overall prospect in all the Twins. Rodriguez, number 4 prospect for all the Twins. Now, if the Saints start the year with an all-prospect with an all top 10 prospects in the outfield, that would be amazing. Now, Walker Jenkins recently tweaked his hamstring. Walker Jenkins, number one prospect for the Twins. There's been a lot of fanfare the last couple of days of people being down, let down, down to the dumps. He's injured again. My God, what are we going to do? Well, as you can see here with the process, there's no plans for bringing Jenkins up anytime in 2026 at all without the outfield depth, and in particular the center field depth. Now, late in the year for a September call-up, Jenkins, maybe. But I've heard fans on social media calling for Jenkins to break camp with the big league team. Now, we've got to keep in mind that's not going to happen. They're not going to move him to left, or they're not going to move him to right. The Twins are very deep. Walker's a true center fielder. I can only hope they don't move him to the corner, keep him at center, start him with the Saints. But it looks like he's going to be starting the year injured on the bench anyway while he rehabs that hamstring. I don't see him being a factor this season for the Twins. For the Saints, yes, give him a year to work through, get him his at-bats, get him a full year in AAA to get his at-bats and his outfield perfected, and have him be ready to go for 2027. But I don't see him being a factor for the Twins at the big league level in 26, other than a September call-up and some at-bats just to see major league pitching. Now, Gonzalez, I do like. The fanfare is all with Rodriguez. Right fielder. The fans, social media loves this guy. But I think the guy here to watch is Gonzalez. This will be fun to watch the outfielders. Now, because there's an injury to Jenkins, the Twins have some depth. The Saints have some depth. I've got Hendry Mendez here with the question mark. I don't know where he's going to fit in. He could play Double-A at Wichita to start the year at Wichita. Unless there's an injury, he may start at the Saints. He's another probably a year away from making the big leagues, but he's another prospect, number 14. Very talented guy. They're working him out at first base because the outfield is so deep in the Twins organization. Top to bottom, the Twins are deep in outfield. Mendez could be switched over to play first base. Now, the Twins are deep there this year at first. Twins are outfield is deep. Look for him to play Double-A and Triple-A this entire year. Which leaves us with two guys we haven't talked about yet. Kalai Rosario, longtime minor leaguer with the Twins, kind of done it all at every level. Looks for him to start at AAA and play the entire year there. They could move him up. They do have him slotted now as a prospect at 29 out of the top 30 prospect list. Rosario has been featured in the fall league. He's been on the futures game. He's been a prospect on and off with the Twins over the years. Hasn't really stuck. They've got him at 29 now, which is kind of a low end. I don't know if the Twins like him or see him playing with the big league club. Good athlete, but the depth the Twins have, he could be a trade bait guy here in the coming months or years. I don't see a spot for Rosario. I do like him as a player. Now, Trevor Larnach, the only person we haven't talked about yet. Trevor Larnach is not going to be an outfielder with the St. Paul Saints. Not going to happen. He's going to make the big league cut or not make the team at all. Now, they're not going to cut him. He's trade bait, worth a lot on a $6 million deal. He is a good left fielder, a good hitter, a good DH. All the things you want in a player. Twins are deep. So once again, unless there's an injury, I don't see the Twins breaking camp with Trevor Larnach on the team. Look for him as trade bait. You could look to get another reliever. You could look to get another starting pitcher. Twins are deep in both of those areas as well. What do you do with a guy like Larnach? In my opinion, I think they keep him for the next couple of weeks in spring training, keep him on the roster, wait for something to happen, wait for an injury to a guy like an Alan Roden. Look for an injury for a Josh Bell or a Caratini. There could be an injury. He could be a full-time DH as well. I do like him in left field, but the Twins have a bunch of DHs as well. Larnach is a guy I think other teams are one injury away for a major league team to their DH or their left fielder to make a phone call to the Twins to say, let's make a deal to get Larnach. So they've got him stashed away as well. All these are updated here as of today. Today's March 2nd, 2026. This is what I've got. Once again, my opinion, something to think about, food for thought here, including injuries. Twins have a lot of guys in the infield that can play multiple positions. They're very versatile. They're young. They are young. Are they going to be last place? Are they going to be fourth place? I don't know. My personal opinion, I do have a couple of bets out there with the Twins landing at 85 wins for the season. I do think with this group and the depth that they have and the young superstars that they have, this team will be right around the 500 mark. I've got them at 85, which is 3-4 wins more than 500 on the year. This should be a fun team to watch for the next couple of years. Now, let's go to team payroll. Team payroll. I'm not going to touch on this a lot, but for the 40-man roster, here's the payroll. I've got them at $100.7 million. Now, we do have Lopez as injured, officially put on the 60-day disabled list, so that opens up a spot on the 40-man roster. And so when they picked up Kent, I've got him in there, and that's why we're sitting at 41. We're sitting at 41 players on the 40-man roster. This is an alphabetical list of all the players, what they're making, what position they are, and what jersey number they've got. All the way down, 100 million. We still have Correa with that deal that forces us to pay $10 million to the Astros this season. $10 million to the Astros. So they're sitting at 110. I've got my notes here from Spottrack.com using the cash salary 2026 column. So take a look at that. Get some screenshots here if you're wondering about some players. Leave some comments as well if you need to. But that's the 40-man roster. That's the payroll. A lot of questions and concerns with Twins fans about the payroll. The payroll being low, the payroll being trimmed, the payroll being near the bottom, the payroll being overly low. Well, I agree that the payroll is low and the payroll is not up there with the Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, and whatnot. But as we've just gone through with this roster, I don't see a lot of holes in this roster at all. Meaning, if you were to get out and get a big name player, who would you get? If you were to go out and get 2, 3 big name players, big name pitchers, who would you get? That's fair. That's a fair question. But anyone you pick up, someone's coming off this list here. We're already too tight. They're already too deep. The Twins' depth is already too stacked with some of these players. I think they're sitting just fine. I don't have an issue with the team payroll at all. That's just my take. I don't have an issue with the payroll. I think the payroll is a non-topic. We shouldn't be bringing that up. Yes, it's low. Yes, historically, the Twins, as being a mid-market team, is low. They're not going to be able to compete and bring in all these names. But look instead for the Twins to have a chemistry team, a clubhouse team. Guys they're picking up that can fit in for the chemistry for this team. Not just big names that can come in and hit and at the same time be a cancer in the dugout. Or guys with a big name, with a big ego that could be a cancer to the dugout and the clubhouse. Twins are picking up guys that are good fits, veteran guys that can be mentors. A lot of youth on this team. And what you need in the clubhouse with a team that's youth and young, you need mentors. You need veteran. You need leadership that can provide those things. Josh Bell, Caratini, love some of these picks here with the older guys to provide that. As guys get up there in age, bullpen as well. I like the mix the Twins have been doing the offseason with picking up guys into their 30s, guys 28, 29, the years that have been age, that have been around the big leagues a handful of years. They can provide the mentorship for these young guys on the staff and the young guys in the bullpen. Keep in mind, too, something that hasn't been brought up a lot on Twins posts. The Twins hiring LaTroy Hawkins to be the bullpen manager is a huge signing. Huge signing. These young guys and these veterans and these people that the Twins have picked up that have kind of been cast-offs from other teams, it's a wild group the Twins have picked up for the bullpen for the relievers. Now you get a guy like LaTroy Hawkins to come in and take over the reins and control these guys as a good leader, as a good veteran, and huge big time player. They're going to look up to him. They're going to respect him. I like that signing of LaTroy for the bullpen for the Twins at the Major League club to get these guys focused and get these guys ready, get these guys prepared. So I look for a fun season coming up here for the Minnesota Twins. I did have the chance to go to a Twins watch party at Target Field. Yesterday, the Twins-Braves game was on at noon at Target Field, just for a watch party for some of the Twins season ticket holders. Tom Pohlad was there, made a little 5-10 minute speech, talked about the Twins organization, talked about where they're headed, what they're trying to do. They're really focusing on communication. I had a chance afterwards to talk to him, shake his hand, and meet Tom and say, good job, first off. Good job on the communication. He's there at spring training. He spent 3 weeks at the Twins down in Fort Myers. He's doing interviews. He's meeting with people. He's out there in the open. He's doing social media. He's out there talking as the face of the Pohlad family. That's something we haven't seen in a while. I don't think I've seen that ever. Even with the previous Pohlad family member who was the in-charge guy for the Twins, I don't remember interviews. I don't remember social media posts. And that was one of the issues I think the Twins fans had. There was no face with the name. There was no one there to take on the accountability or to take action with the Twins. If they're doing bad, if they're doing good, to be the voice, to be a picture, a face. Tom's doing that. I told him good job on doing that and getting his name out there. And yes, by getting out there, you're putting a bullseye on your back. If they do bad, the Twins are going to now be able to point fingers and say, he sucks. We don't like what he's doing. But what I see a lot with Twins fans in general, Twins fans do not like the Pohlad family, right? If you ask a Twins fan who they don't like in particular, they can't name a name. They just don't like the Pohlads. They don't like the Pohlad family. So that I can agree with back in the day when Carl was running the team along with his wife. They were very cheap. Twins did not spend a lot. People didn't like Carl and the wife. Okay, that's fine. But that's 20 years ago. So if you don't like the Pohlad family, please come ready with the name of who you don't like. You can't like all of them. There's a lot of them out there. If there's no one you like in particular and you just play the easy card of I don't like the Pohlads, please sell the team, that's not good enough. You have to have an answer ready. Who don't you like? Is it Tom? Fine. Say you don't like Tom Pohlad. He just got there. He's been on the job now 2 months. That's fair to say. But anyway, as far as righting the ship and getting things with the Twins organization settled, I think he's the right guy for the job. And I also think that he's doing the right things. Head coach, the new coach, manager the Twins have, Derek Shelton, I like him. Very positive guy. He is out doing interviews. He's talking with the team. He's getting a mindset ready for the upcoming season. And it is a good combination, I think, what the Twins have. I don't know if Rocco Baldelli was entirely, my opinion is that they went out and fired him because he's doing a bad job, or the fans didn't like him, or the players didn't like him. I don't know if any of that's even true. They had to fire someone. They had to make a change, and I think Baldelli, as the manager, it fell into his lap. I don't think he was surprised when he was let go. But communication was weak. There was not a lot of communication with the Twins in the past, with general manager, Pohlad, manager. The speaking back between those key cogs was not there. And what that does, it leaves Twins fans left to speculate. It leaves the Twins fans left to come up with their own conclusions and come up with their own comments and their own opinions. And we all know how that went. Not good. Things went downhill south very quickly online with the Twins writers, with the Twins social media, with the people that follow the Twins, the social media followers. All you see with Twins topics is negativity. pessimism. Cancer. It's going online and watching some of these reviews and preview of the Twins season are very pessimistic, cancerous things to watch. We try to provide a positive outlook here with facts that back it up. This will be a fun season to watch. If you're online reading and following social media, Matthew Leach, I like him as the beat writer for the Twins. One of the very few good guys out there writing positive, writing facts, sticking to the facts. I like him. The rest of the guys out there, I have to admit, it's tough to follow Twins social media. It's a cesspool out there. That being said, please leave your comments and things below. I've got a pretty good rundown here of the Twins. Every month I've done this installation. Most of it is my opinions, but it's also backed up with some facts. Leave your comments below if you agree or you disagree. That is fine. Look for another upcoming show here as the Twins break camp at the end of the month. And break camp, announce the starting opening day roster, and head to Baltimore for a weekend series with the Orioles at the end of the month. Thanks for listening.